Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Ask a STEM Sister. Today, I am so excited to be speaking with Dr. Doris Taylor. She is a fellow Sierra Leonean sister, and we are always happy to have, our countrywomen to speak with us. I would like to go ahead and give Dr. Taylor an opportunity to just introduce herself to you all before I go into some questions. Dr. Taylor.
Okay, hello everyone. So I'm Doris Taylor. Recently defended my PhD in Biochemistry and Molecular Biology, where I was in a lab that studied antibiotic resistance. So right now I'm just in the process of applying to jobs and interviewing, trying to move on to that next step. But yeah, I guess I'll just leave it off there.
What? Oh, wow. First of all, I want to say congratulations on defending. So, a lot of, our followers are undergrads, thinking about graduate school and, that stage of getting to defend seems so far away. And so I know it's a big accomplishment and I just want to say congratulations. But thinking back to maybe your time, as an undergrad, I'd love to dive into how you chose your major, and, what college was like in your major. Like, what type of classes did you take? Did you have internships? Just what was college like for you, and how did you land on your major?
Okay. So actually going into college, I was in a scholarship program that was specifically for the purpose of the scholarship program is to increase the diversity of the PhD STEM workforce. So it's specifically trying to get more underrepresented minorities into STEM. And this was at University of Maryland, Baltimore County, UMBC. You made the best choice. Okay, but so I was in that program, and it was basically a lot of mentorship and support. And so I came in as a biology major. In my mind, I wanted to work on prosthetics. So I don't know why I chose biology and not mechanical engineering. But along the way, I realized that I liked chemistry a little bit more than biology. So I switched over to a biochemistry major so that I wouldn't have to take any more bio classes. And so, but I was in this scholarship program, and so they really encouraged us to do summer research internships every summer and to work in a lab on campus once you get to about your third year. And so to try to get like a sustained research experience. So.
Wow, that is super impressive, especially to kind of have an idea of what you wanted to do that early on. If you could maybe go back to your, high school self, like freshman in high school, what would be the advice you would give yourself, especially knowing, the path that you actually went down? What type of tips would you have for someone just starting high school, or that you would tell yourself at that stage?
I would probably tell myself to just put yourself out there more, try multiple things. I feel like in high school, I kind of just went through the motions, and then I got to the end and I heard about the scholarship program. And I was like, okay, I guess that's what I'm going to do. But I wish I had just tried a lot more things. Like there's a lot of things I was interested in, and just really giving myself the chance to really explore everything. So just, I guess, be more open-minded and just active at seeking out opportunities. Mm-hmm.
I agree 100%. I think that that's something, we aim to accomplish even with this platform, because I think that we hear of being a doctor. Really, that's what we know, especially at that age, and so you don't realize all the other things that you can do in science and medicine that aren't, being a physician, right? And so that comes with being open-minded and putting yourself out there, and so I'm really glad that you brought that up. And so once you were able to kind of transition, to college, and then went to graduate school, what was kind of that tipping point? Like, what made you decide, well, now I want to go the extra step. I want to go to graduate school. And how did you land in biochemistry and molecular biology?
So I guess when I was in college and part of this scholarship program, I was thinking, okay, I think I'm going to do an MD PhD. And so, but then like one summer I had the experience to shadow a physician, and I was kind of like, okay, I don't think that's really what I'm interested in. So I think maybe I'll just try straight PhD. And so I guess I just got to the end and was like, well, I might as well try applying and see what happens. So I just kind of applied straight out of undergrad and was able to get into some programs and picked from there. I think at the time I didn't really know, how good of an applicant I would be in other fields. So I kind of was like, okay, I guess I just have to apply to biochemistry programs. It ended up working out for me because I did find the lab I really liked, but I guess I didn't realize that, you can really move around in grad school, when you're first starting out. So.
Awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about the research that you did your dissertation on, and just, how you, landed in your particular lab? Because that's always, the feat after, that's your major, and then you have to pick a lab. How did you, land with the subject matter, and what did you actually work on in your lab?
Okay. So I guess in my program, we have to, in our first year, we take classes and we do rotations in different labs. And I guess I was just going through the motions, going through rotations. And my fourth rotation, that's the lab I ended up joining. So another thing that we have is that the different professors will come in and just kind of give us a preview of their research. So my fourth professor, he was actually in the pharmacology department, and he was describing how he works on antibiotic resistance and how it's a huge problem. And so he kind of really sold me with his little speech. So then I decided to rotate in his lab and really liked it. I really liked the environment. I really liked that he was really present, because some people's PIs are very hands off. So I like that he was really around and accessible. And so my research, so pretty much my lab studies different bacterial enzymes that are involved in inactivating antibiotics. So my work mainly involved studying some of these enzymes, better understanding their mechanism and how they work. I was specifically working with enzymes that are a big problem in the clinic, and they provide like really widespread resistance. So I was mainly working on trying to develop some drugs that could block those enzymes, because that would essentially restore effectiveness back to the antibiotics, and they could be paired together in like a dual treatment. So my research mainly focused on drug discovery, which is not what I was expecting, but it turned out to be really, really cool. So.
Wow, that sounds super impressive. And just from afar, I'm very proud of you.
Oh.
And I think that it's awesome to get to share, on any platform what you spent, years working on. And so I think it's important for, you to be able to share. Again, it's putting yourself out there, but what you now have this expertise in. And so that is awesome. I always admired, as I was the opposite, and I was trying to get away from the chemistry classes and focus on things that were more biology related. So I'm always very amazed at you chemistry folks. So looking forward, I mean, you're at a very exciting phase, right? So looking ahead, what are some of the things that you think about in the future? Like, what is your dream role? And what do you kind of picture yourself, retiring doing? Like, what would be that awesome, perfect role for you?
Retiring doing? Ooh. So I think my dream career would, I don't know what it is yet, but it would definitely involve something where I'm doing some kind of mentorship for other Black women who are interested in STEM. I think I had a lot of experiences in middle school where I really got to see a lot of other Black students that mentored me, and I was in these different like summer camps in middle school, and so I would go over to the local high school and like take classes there, and our mentors were like Black and brown students. So I think that having that was really what inspired me and was like, oh, I can do that too, because I never really thought of a scientist as a job that I could do. So I think I would love to be involved in something like that, and something where I'm able to give my input on what we need to change in academia to make it more inclusive. I think that's still a huge problem. And so if we could get more voices and more power behind that, I think that would make me really happy.
And I'm glad you brought that up because, I'm curious. I went to a predominantly white institution for both undergrad and graduate school and, in the Midwest. And so my experience was that I didn't encounter a lot of Black women, not only just in my field, but in the institution as a whole. And so how many Black women are in your field? Were there a lot of Black women, that you were able to call upon as mentors or see as peers, even in your field?
So I guess in my field, not so many. I guess I'm on one side on the biochemistry side, and on the other end the antibiotic resistance. So on the antibiotic resistance side, sometimes I'll see more physicians, and so I'm more likely to see some Black women there. But definitely, at my school, there's no Black women faculty like in my department. I only know one, I think, in the entire school. There's a couple Black men, but really there weren't many Black women around. But I guess that's been one of the good things about social media, being able to connect with people at other places, but definitely in my field and in my immediate school is very lacking.
Gotcha. That's been the case, across STEM fields. So I'm not surprised to hear that.
Yeah.
Do you know of any unique challenges that Black women face in your field? Any that come to mind in academia or outside of it?
Ooh, where do you start? It's I think one of the biggest things can be just feeling like the imposter syndrome thing that many Black women or Black people in general experience in the workforce. I think in grad school, hopefully everyone gets to a point where they realize nobody really knows what they're doing, and so you really don't have to feel bad at all. And I think the other thing that I think Black women particularly might struggle with in grad school is, from what I've seen, a lot of Black women really want to be involved in diversity efforts and help give back in all these different kinds of ways. And that can be very taxing. And so I think one thing that I've noticed is that just feeling like I have a second job trying to do these different diversity things, and other students not necessarily feeling that burden, and so kind of being exhausted that, I'm doing something that I think is important and I want to help with, but it is a lot of work that's really not compensated in certain ways. So I think that can really be a big challenge.
I agree 100%. And that is a unique challenge that everyone doesn't appreciate if you go to, and if you're at an institution where there are few Black students or Black women, they don't see that unpaid, that work, because they don't even know you're doing it sometimes. They don't know you're meeting with the students that are coming in for orientation, and you're taking them out to lunch, or you're chatting with the first years that are having trouble, or like you're doing these things and you're not getting paid, you're not getting credit for them. And there, it is a struggle, because I do think that there's part of us as Black women that, we're giving, we like to hold each other up, we like to support. And so we feel that that's our duty. And then we're not actually rewarded in the same ways. And so I echo that 100%. And I don't know what the solution to that is, because I do find that we need each other. And so it becomes just an issue of you prioritizing yourself, putting yourself first, putting your goals and that dream role, having that in your mind and being able to work towards it while still being able to help some folks along the way. So that's awesome. I'm curious to know, I'm a geneticist, so I completely have a little bit of molecular biology background. Again, stayed away from the biochemistry. So I'm curious what you've encountered as a misconception about your field. Like, when people hear you're biochemist, what are some of the things that people think, and you have to tell them it's not like that at all, it's like this?
So I guess I think people usually assume that means I'm an expert in biology and chemistry. Which, I guess I wouldn't say that. And I think also sometimes what I've run into is people who are full-on chemists assume that biochemistry is still biology with another name. So I would say it's more so using some chemistry to study different things in biology. Like, for example, my work, I'm using more chemical approaches, but I'm studying proteins, which is like a biological asset. So I guess that's the way I like to put it to people.
Thank you. Because I know folks do struggle with, I mean, for me, when I hear biochemistry, I still think chemistry. So that is awesome to hear. I'm also curious now, given the phase that you're in, what are you finding to be the most challenging about the phase you're in now? Like, I know that period after defense and looking forward to the next step, whether that be, am I going to do a postdoc? Am I going to, try to get into industry? Am I going to try to be an adjunct professor? Like, all of these options out there. Do I do a fellowship somewhere? What kind of things are you looking for, and what are the options that you're weighing, and how do you think you're going to decide?
Yeah, so I guess I'm applying now. I have been I'm applying to mainly postdocs, mainly industry postdocs, but also some academic ones. Yeah, I guess the most difficult part has been, I guess, the pandemic, because it's created a lot more uncertainty. A lot of people have kind of had to pause their hiring processes and stuff like that. So I think I guess the pandemic and what that has added on to this already kind of stressful time has been the most difficult. But it is moving forward, just kind of focusing on what I can control, just keep sending out my applications, keep taking on the interviews and stuff like that. So, but I think definitely the pandemic it was a really unique time to defend. And so it's really, shaking things up a bit.
Well, we wish you the very best. And we know it's going to work out for you. No problem. I do want to touch a little bit on, your background and, where you grew up and how your family background and surroundings, how that shaped, your pursuit of the sciences, or, how it influenced your career choice, and, how you think of that now that you're finished.
Yeah. So I was born in DC, grew up in Maryland in PG County, also known as Wakanda. But yeah, my family's Sierra Leonean. My dad's Krio, my mom's Temne. And so they strongly, strongly encourage us to become physicians and engineers and stuff like that, as most people's parents do. And so I think that was really difficult for me because, once I was in college, I was, I guess it was good in the fact that they always really pushed me to be great and excellent at school. So that did really end up helping me in the long run. But I think they really, and still to this day, want me to become a physician. Trying to defend my decision to go into a PhD, especially when, they see how much uncertainty there is sometimes with a PhD and it's not as lucrative. So really having to kind of defend this career path has been challenging, but our parents always just want the best for us. And so it's one of those things where they're slowly starting to be like, okay, I understand this is your path. They saw my defense and they were really proud, like, oh, we saw all your hard work. And so I think they're starting to come around, but it was really funny because at my defense, one of my aunts, when my PI opened up the floor to take questions, one of my aunts was like, okay, yeah, that was really excellent. We would have still wish you would have been a practitioner, but this was really good work. And so all my lab mates were like, but
okay, we're used to it.
I was just like, I hear this every day.
Well, I do. We talk about this all the time. I think our parents come here with high hopes. They left their families and they left so much behind, and so we know that they mean well, and they've obviously pushed you. And look, you're still a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so so yeah, I just always love hearing a little bit about that background, and I'm sure they're very proud of you. So this has been awesome. I just have one more question just before we wrap up, and that's just telling me a little bit about what has been the most rewarding part of this experience from coming in probably naive and not knowing what this process was going to be like, choosing a lab and getting to your defense. What has been the most rewarding part of your experience so far as a scientist?
Okay, that's a deep question. I would say probably just kind of, because for me, since I started right after undergrad, I was really young. I was like 21 when I started. And so just kind of growing up through the process has been, I think, the most rewarding because, everyone will tell you a PhD is very difficult. There's a lot that's out of your control. There's a lot of uncertainty. But I think that struggle kind of really shaped me into who I am and gave me a lot of perspective that I don't feel like I would have gotten if I didn't do a PhD. So I'm really grateful for the whole process and who it's transformed me into. And I would say getting through a PhD also, I don't know, for me, it's giving me a certain level of confidence. I don't know if anything will ever be that hard again. I've made it through, I've made it through the storm. I can handle anything. And so I just feel like the transformation from the whole process has been the most rewarding.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And it's true. So you probably can't make it through anything. I agree. Well, this has just been so awesome being able to chat with you. Do you have any questions for me? You don't have to have any questions.
No, I think I guess I was interested because I saw you and your sister started this together. So both of you did PhDs or she didn't?
No, my sister actually got her master's in information systems. So she is the tech instead. Okay. And so we went completely different ways. We have the same parents who also would have liked, for her to go into the sciences. And of course, when I had camps or things, she used to come to campus to visit me. And so, but then she realized pretty early on, this isn't for me. So, she was able to move into the information systems right at the great time. Like I actually wish that I had picked up like a bioinformatics minor or something like that. Like I didn't know that that was going to be huge, right? Hindsight, right? And so I think that having someone so close to me that understands the IT side of things and I'm into the science has just been a great mix for both of us. So no, she didn't have to get a PhD. I think that in the tech world,
Yeah.
they don't, it's not necessary. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's so cute because me and my brother both went into PhD programs, my older brother and I. So my parents were like, wow, not one of you in school. But my little brother is going into nursing, so he's almost there, almost there.
Well, you're all doing really well. And again, always proud. We know where our families have come from. And especially being young women, where, women in our country, some women aren't even afforded the opportunity to go to school at an early age. So become literate, let alone get these advanced degrees. So I'm very proud of you from afar, just knowing where our families are from the same place. And so again, really happy that you took the time to talk to me this evening, and just looking forward to seeing your process, your progress going forward. And we'll definitely keep in touch.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
You're welcome. See you.
Bye.